All right, so today's video, we're back with more Reddit reacts where we kind of, go and react on Reddit and read people's questions. It's a good time. We also do the YouTube comment react, so if you want to add more to this or have any things you want to put in these comments, we do a Reddit react video or a YouTube react video to YouTube comments, so if you want to get involved in that too, leave a question on that one. Yes, I know it's bright. I don't know how to get the other mode on, so we just deal with it. All right, here we go. The first question we have here on the Reddit react is Moira a crutch? I'm in gold and I main Ana. 80% of my time is on her in comp. If I'm getting dove hard with no peel, I'll swap to Moira for survivability and mobility. Moira is easy enough that I can still play her fairly well with little practice and it often works out. Is this a bad idea in the long run, i.e. higher ranks, due to Moira's lack of utility? Should I be focusing on Kiriko instead to fill that option? I like Bap too, but he doesn't have the horizontal mobility that Moira and Kiriko have. Yeah, you're fine with any of the heroes you suggested, but Moira is still a very much go-to hero in top 500 if you're having issues. And what I mean by that is, like, sometimes you're probably still going to run into the issue where, like, you're going to have to go a hero, and even Kiriko won't work. So, yeah, Moira isn't a bad pick, and honestly, like, to your question, should you learn Kiriko? Yes. As you climb into higher ranks, Kiriko becomes a lot better. And you're going to like Kiriko has such good utility, a great ultimate, all of that, like, Kiriko won't be a bad pick. But you also mentioned Bap. Like, I still think Bap has the ability to have pretty good mobility and also brings value. So, to answer your question, was Moira a crutch, like, as you climb higher? No. You can still play Moira. Should you learn Kiriko and Bap as you climb higher? Yes. I think all of that, and Moira is still a hero that you're going to find yourself going to as you get to higher ranks anyway. Because sometimes they just have a good dive, and the only hero you can go is a hero like Moira, but you can throw a damage orb out there, heal an orb, add a little bit more value, dive backline, survive, things like that. Moira can be easy to pick up on, but like them going Moira because they're getting dove in like 20% of their games is fine, and it won't really hurt you as much as you get to higher ranks. But it's also good to learn those other heroes if you want to develop that type of hero pool. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, you're fine going Moira. That's not a bad pick. This one says, so the new Hanzo ult buff is just a nerf, right? Let's read this one. It now moves significantly faster, making it less effective for zoning, which was its intended purpose. The devs said they wanted to make it less of a zoning tool, but now it isn't really one at all. You can't use it to zone out a res, a window, a kitsune, or anything you used to use it for, since it will move quickly past, and those abilities will still be up. Instead, it now moves too fast to reliably do damage. If you combo it, it quickly moves past the intended area, and if you do catch someone with it without comboing it, the fast speed of the ult makes them more likely to survive, as they will spend less time in it. The speed of Dragon Strike I don't think was ever the problem or even a concern for any Hanzo players. This buff felt really tone deaf for a character that's been in a miserable state for several months and already had one of the worst ultimates in the game. If they wanted to make it do more reliable damage, they should have changed the damage values. Has anyone seen this change have any kind of positive effect rather than hindering its ability further? It's a good question, right? If I'm correct, technically doesn't doesn't it do less damage because of how quickly it goes? Like, in theory. What I will say is this. I do think that the ultimate definitely feels like a bit of a nerf. I also will say, you asked, have you seen a positive effect of the ultimate? I have. And the reason being is I've seen a lot of players actually die to the Hanzo ult now because they're not used to the time-ins. So I've seen a lot of players actually try to run away from the ultimate and actually run into it because they're used to the time-ins on Hanzo ult. So I've seen value there. But I'll give you the flip side of it. I think players will eventually adapt to that, and it eventually won't get that same value, which could eventually bring them back to looking at Hanzo ult again. Does that make sense? Like, the muscle memory of, like, avoiding the Hanzo ultimate definitely has shifted, so you're going to see a bit more value from it. But yeah, I mean, there's a good argument here that the Hanzo ult needs to be looked at in different ways. There's things that, like, I mean, there's ways you could buff Hanzo ult right now that wouldn't be fun for the player, but would be fun for the Hanzo. Like, imagine if the Hanzo dragon hits you, it snares you or, like, slows you down slightly. Like, you'd get rolled by Hanzo ult, right? You could keep it as fast as possible, but it also snares them. Maybe you do something like that, right? Snares, like, slows. I know that's, like, a weird way to put it. Like, that's a way that you could take the current Hanzo ultimate without increasing the damage and make it so it adds a slight slow. Now, I wouldn't want that. That would feel terrible for me, but, like, there's ways they could do that if they really wanted to with the Hanzo ultimate. Keep in mind, I'm not suggesting that. Let Hanzo steer the ultimate. I mean, that'd be kind of fun, to be honest with you. I think that would probably have to do, like, a whole redesign of how that ultimate works, but that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I definitely think some players will see the Hanzo ult feel worse to them, and I think some players are finding more value in it. but it doesn't mean that over time that value will stay there because I think players will get better at avoiding that. Why can Venture Alt destroy Lamp? I just started picking up BAP and learning him in quick play. I saw the Venture trying to flank and alt our backline. Ana was there with me, and I was like, cool. I can try to Lamp, buy our team some time, and get to a different position. So I threw my Lamp down, but it got destroyed right away, and we were dead too at the same time. I was so confused and totally didn't expect that to happen. I can probably super jump in the meantime to dodge it, but I just didn't think it would kill the Lamp and me at the same time. Why would an ult that can be dodged by not being on the floor destroy a Lamp that not touching the floor? Am I missing something here? Welcome to Overwatch. Now, I know that someone will be like, oh, it's gravity and all that, but how many times have I lifted a Lucio into the air and they beat right in the middle of the air? Sometimes there's just things in the game that you see and you go, you know what? You want my take on this? I don't even mind Venture Alt. I don't even mind Venture Alt doing this because, like, honestly, the amount of plays that, like, Suzu and Lamp just ruin in Overwatch, like, there are so many good plays that get ruined by those abilities. Like, I'm talking plays that are so satisfying, they're going to be so awesome, and then they get Suzu'd or they get Lamped. There are so many... So, yeah, can it be frustrating that your Lamp is in the air? But, like, just pretend it's, like... At this point, like, is it bad that I'm okay with Venture Alt destroying Lamp? Like, like, at this point, I'm just fine with that. I'm like, you know what? Heck it. Like, I'm just glad that like, it can do it. I'm not saying, listen, from a practicality point of view, like, should they have the Lamp not take damage because it's up in the air? And, like, from, like, a feedback loop, you're like, it's in the air, it shouldn't get destroyed? Yes. But you know what? I still get shattered standing on top of a cart against Reinhardt, and some things, like, are just there to make it so the ability has a little bit more value. Whether or not that's good or bad, you know, maybe if I'm playing BAP, I'll complain about it at the time, but at any other situation, I'm probably fine with it. How do you effectively use Briggs and Zenyatta's ultimates? Zen and Brig typically play in the backline, either poking out the enemy or protecting your other support. Correct statement. Both their ults, however, encourage you to be on the front line with your team, especially Briggs, which to me feels very counterintuitive to their regular playstyle. How should I maximize the usage of their ultimates without playing suboptimally normally? I understand their best use is to counter enemy ultimates, but trying to stun a queen out of Rampage when you're sitting back with your Ana seems really difficult. The real stick for me is going forward because you expect to ult, just not to get that opportunity and you have to run back to your normal position. Well, I want you to think of it a little bit differently with Briggs' ultimate. Like, when you're playing Lucio, are you going to use your speed boost in your backline the whole time and then your heal boost? No. You have to shift up your playstyle. So, I think as you get your Brig ultimate, you're going to either use it for two things. One, let's say they have a Genji or, like, somebody you can bash. You can use it for that. Or two, you use it as, like, an aggressive play that you let your team know we have Brig ult. So you go in, you use your bash. Remember, you have the bash reset now, too. So when you pop your ultimate, you get that bash right away. So you can go into, like, a bash type of situation. And that's good. I think with Briggs' ultimate, yes, you're going to use it defensively sometimes, but think of it as more of, like, an aggressive, like, tool that you can use to basically win a team fight, rather than, like, oh, I need to sit in the back the whole time. You're doing it right, protecting your other support, but, like, as you get ultimates, you adjust your play style, right? Like, if you're playing Sombra and you get EMP, you're more than likely going to play more aggressive with EMP, right? You're not going to say, oh, I'm going to sit in the back line and just, like, hack their Ana and that's it, right? A lot of the time, you're going to use, like, your EMP more aggressively and make more aggressive plays. So, like, Brig ult can be used as a initiation ultimate. Yeah, you initiate with the ultimate to play more aggro. Sometimes you'll use it for different stuff. Like, if you're going, hey, do they have Blade? You can sit on your Brig ult the whole time because you're just going to prevent their Blade, right? But if they don't have anything that you really need to prevent, then yeah, you want to be more proactively like, hey, I have Brig ult, let's be aggressive, pop Brig ult, go in, be aggro, and then keep your team alive that way because of the overshield, right? For Zenyatta's ultimate, one of my favorite things to do is I like to use Zenyatta ultimate to ult my team and then watch them all get rolled because there's too much damage in Overwatch, and Zenyatta ultimate feels useless. That is a bit of an over-exaggeration, but I feel like Zenyatta ultimate is not as good anymore. I actually find that Zenyatta ultimate a lot of the time now is used as, like, a second defensive tool for you, so that if they dive you or, like, they're going to get you, you use an ultimate to survive and reposition. Zen ult is okay, but honestly, like, I would take a Suzu and a Lamp over a Zenyatta ultimate any day of the week right now. Yeah, exactly. And with the 20% DPS passive, it's even easier to kill people through Zen ult now. I think my answer to Zenyatta ultimate, I actually don't know, because I every time I see a Zenyatta ultimate used, I just see people falling over anyway. There's only one way to use Zen's ult. When the enemy dives you and you are at 10%, pop the ult. You know what? They're not wrong. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what it is. Like, there's just no... Zenyatta ultimate just isn't good. Zenyatta ultimate was already kind of getting bad in Overwatch 1. It's only gotten worse in Overwatch 2. Best hero? to swap on overtime. What hero is the best to swap to when you're on OT? Keep in mind, this is swapping, so ults don't really come into play with this, so no bringing up Primal. I normally default to Ball because I suck at Doomfist because he has both mobility and survivability, as well as boops. Is there anyone else that's good? Is this in reference to tanking? I actually believe on the tank side of things, and this is all preference, I think Doomfist is a little bit better. Wrecking Ball is good for getting back quickly, but I actually like Doomfist a lot better. Let me explain to you. Doomfist has a really easy time being able to get in the limb. So a lot of what you can do is Doom, and why Doom is such a good recontest hero is not only do you get to the point, but a lot of the time they're trying to win the team fight, so they charge your punch. Well, guess what? They charge your punch, you hit a good right click now 2 of them are stunned. You slam them, 1 of them falls over. You rotate out, you're back on the cart, you're in overtime, you have your block again. That's what makes them so good. Wrecking Ball, exactly. Wrecking Ball has an issue where you still have to wait for the grapple timer, which actually I wouldn't doubt if they change that one day. Right? So as Wrecking Ball, it can be really hard to get back to the point right away, but when you do get there, if the other team isn't paying attention as much, you can get good overshield, you can give your team some shield. So I would put Wrecking Ball as second. If there's a third tank, I would go to point as probably D.Va. I actually like D.Va because you have the DMAC opportunity and the defense majors can prevent a lot of damage. From a DPS point of view, Tracer. Venture now, I think Venture's probably moving up that list on like heroes that you want to go to the point with if you can make it there, because you can actually just sit on the point underneath the ground. But like Sombra, Tracer, Venture, I think are pretty good there. Maybe Reaper, but like Reaper kind of just gets rolled anyway. Maybe I'm missing one more hero that could be good there. Genji, if you need to get back quickly, if you're not comfortable on that. But I think those are probably your best ones. And then for support, Kiriko. Yeah, Kiriko, Moira, Lucio. Did Soldier? No, Soldier would get rolled. Soldier would fall over too easily. He said Ryan isn't bad too. Ryan's okay. But yeah, I'd say that's it. Those are the heroes I'd say. Are players better now than years ago in Overwatch 1? Yes. Would you say that players on the ranked ladder are better nowadays compared to 5 years ago in Overwatch 1? Yes. What about the competitive scene? Probably. How do players during the last season of OWL compare to the first years of OWL? Probably better. Was a player like Prophet more skilled in the later years of OWL relative to the first year or so? Hard to say. There was a lot of good players in Season 1, but like, players have gotten better for sure. Like, there's probably players that like in Season 1 of Overwatch 1, Overwatch League are still really good and would do really well, but a lot of players that you see playing in Season 5 are also grinding it a lot longer at that point, so they're just going to get better in general. This happens in pretty much any game. I realize that the player base isn't as big as it once was, but how the skill level has increased or declined overall. Actually, this might start to become an incorrect statement, believe it or not. This actually might become an incorrect statement, because I actually think the player base is actually larger now because it's a free-to-play game. And I don't even think that's copium. I actually believe there's more players that play it now. It's just how many are getting a top 500, etc. is the question there, but yeah. But yeah, I'd say the answer is, yeah, players have definitely gotten better since then. Overwatch has been out for 8 years. Players get better at, it could be as simple as like the skill level is the same mechanically, but the map awareness is better, right? Like if somebody's been playing Dorado for 8 years straight now and somebody comes back to the game and was really good and still has the mechanics but doesn't understand how to correctly play Dorado now, the other player might still play better because they're used to that, right? You see what I'm saying? It's a good question, but I would say players, yeah, I mean, they're going to get better because they've been playing it for a long time. It doesn't mean that players from Season 1 of OWL are bad or can't compete when it comes to the mechanics, because that isn't the case. It's more of like the map knowledge, the how you play cohesively as a team, etc. Has Rein's pin become a much more essential part of his kit? Yes. Back in Overwatch 1, aside from counter pin in their Rein, you could basically just unbind pin. But it feels like nowadays getting a good pin on a squishy or a pin in their tank into your backline off the map is an important part of winning games as Rein. Before I go to the next part here, the reason why it's like that is because you can't take as much damage anymore if you just sit there and go AFK. Actually, the AFK strat works a little bit better now with the recent changes. But yeah, a lot of the time you just get grinded down and you can't do anything, so most Reinhardts just charge in. Problem I run into when I'm charging is that every Rein that I play against has like Stickum, or like they have like super glue on them, and then they just, no matter what they do, they vacuum somebody in. When I play Reinhardt, it's like I'm all like, I have a bunch of oil, I'm all oiled up, right? Or get like lotion or something, and I just go right past everybody. I'm all oiled up or something. I can't figure it out. I have no idea how it works. But when everybody else is on Rein, no problem pinning me. I'm on Rein. I don't get anybody. Part of this is because pin has been buffed with pin cancel and the extra steering, making it an actual viable tool in Rein's arsenal. I can agree. However, it also feels like as the only tank, you have to be a lot more proactive to get value. Yes, because you're just taking too much poke damage. Outside of Plat just moving from corner to corner, swinging on their tank, and the occasional overextended squishy just won't do that much, especially now there are tanks that will push your crap in when you try to brawl them. Now that you get outpoked and outbrawled, pin has gone from essentially a meme to a potential one-shot that you have to abuse to carry fights. I'm drunk, beer, thoughts. Okay, wonderful. In Overwatch 1, though, and I think the 2 comments bring this up, like, pinning was still good in Overwatch 1. You had to know the technique, but, like, pinning was really strong. But yeah, I think right now there's 2 play styles that I'm seeing in top 500. The aggressive Ryan who pins and always seems to get somebody because there's so much. I don't know if it's because they changed the hit, I don't know if, like, the pin is considered a projectile and it just has increased the size of how much you pin somebody. But I always see Ryans get pins, or you go to what I call, like, the put the other team to sleep strategy, where you just sit there, hold your shield up, and do absolutely nothing, and nobody wants to shoot shields anymore, so you just sit there, and the Reinhardt just stares at you, and then you fall asleep. Those are the 2 play styles I see, and both of them have worked. So, yeah, I would say pin is a huge essential part of his kit. Definitely a bit more than Overwatch 1, just because you have more playmaking ability with it, but it was still essential in Overwatch 1. Is it me, or does Ramattra not feel good? I know how to decently play the hero, but I find it very hard to get picks. With him, I don't 1v1 tanks because I know that's also not his strong point. I mean, technically it is, but his abilities with the Season 9 health buff don't really do that much damage, and I find myself just farming Annihilation and not really killing people with it. Do I just don't understand the character? Hey, that's tanking in general, though. I feel like right now it's funny because, like, I feel like this is a question you can ask in general for both, like, Ramattra and any other tank. A lot of Ramattra right now, or a lot of tanking in general, is you do damage, and then you're a little bit tankier, but what do you do with that? And you feel like you don't do anything. It feels like you just go there to farm 10,000, 20,000 damage to get 8 of limbs, and it feels like you're doing nothing. So to feel that way in Ramattra isn't an incorrect statement. I mean, Ramattra actually was a hero that I was actually climbing a ton with in top 500. I had like a 70% win rate for a while, and like a pretty large sample size of that too. But now that they made the midseason patch change, I actually find that Ramatra's a lot worse because they reduced the amount of farming I can do with my Doritos on the other tank because it's 25% less headshot reduction or damage reduction. So I actually feel like most tanks now feel a lot worse against the other tank now, but you can't get to the backline because a lot of the people are playing really far in the backline and you're just sitting there doing nothing. So you just sit there and you farm damage, and it just feels like all the tanks, you just tankier, but you do nothing. You find yourself ignoring the other tank as a Ramattra, which I love the concept of that. But, like, some games you can't do that, right? If they're playing further back, like, it doesn't matter how aggressive you get. Eventually, you just get grinded down as Ramattra. So, yeah, if you feel like Ramattra isn't playing the best to how you're used to it, or, like, the ability that you want, I mean, it's not incorrect, but that goes for a lot of tanks right now, which is obviously a part of the problem because, like, I think more and more players aren't going to want to, like, play tank as much if the whole play style is you're there just to absorb a bunch of damage, but also do nothing at the same time. All right, and then we're on to the last question. What in the thesis is this? How I got out of bronze on D.Va. Hi, y'all. Hoping y'all have a great day. I know usually only very good people write here, but I know there are a lot of bronzies like me who usually can't really apply the more advanced tips, which is fair. I like this. I mean, getting the perspective of somebody in that rank to be able to give some, like, value, like, I think is good. Right? Like, just because I'm in top 500 doesn't mean I know exactly what happens in all the bronze games, so getting, like, a different perspective and point of view on things can be really helpful. If you look at my post history, you'll know I was bottom 500 in Overwatch 1, and I played on and off on Overwatch 2. Blizzard made it very hard for me to love this game again, but it's good in my opinion. Last week, I hit Silver 5. I was like, Season 5? What game are you playing? Last week, I hit Silver 5 for the first time since I joined Overwatch. Today, I got Silver 3. Technically, a single win streak, too. LOL. I went back to look at some old VODs and analyze my fights to bring a crumb of knowledge to this hell on earth. You know, listen. Sometimes you just listen. Sometimes they misspell. I'm reading what they said, okay? I got basically 3 big things that will get you out of bronze on tank. I don't think these apply only to D.Va. All right? Chat, listen. Look how they spelled it. That's not my fault. Look at that. I don't want to embed that. Look at. No, stop putting embed. No, I don't want to embed that. Look at. That's how they spelled it. 1, you have to do something. Idling while shooting the other tank won't win you the fight. It could be obvious to many, but I was doing it, and the tanks I fight do that constantly. Try to get a pick, maybe dive someone. The only 2 times you should shoot the tank is if they're isolated and you can burst them, or if you're in a neutral trying to get them all. Actually, yeah, not wrong. I was going to say, I thought they were going to say don't shoot the tank, but they're right. When you're in the neutral, which is doing nothing, you just kind of shoot at the tank. And then when, like, you're in an opportunity to isolate them, you go for them. It's actually not even bad advice. I'll be honest with you. Number 2, you have to balance feeding and playing safe. You cannot just do one of them. Use sight lines and don't LOS your support. Good advice when pushing. But feed if you have a clear opportunity to get a pick /win the fight. Obviously, don't die. Spare your defensive cooldowns to get out. I mean, this is all correct. I can't really say don't do this, I think so far this is good. Number 3, adapt to your team play style. My Genji is feeding, my Moira won't heal me, my Lucio only speed/heals. So you're playing Lucio? That's normal. Wherever you are on the ladder, those players got there playing like this. Don't try to force them to play differently and don't expect them to. Your Moira won't heal, play safer. More sight lines and don't get poked. Or go hog. Your health pool is enough to get you to the fight. Your Genji feeds, feed with him. I have talked about that before in my spectators, right? Go at the pace of your teammates if it feels like you can't get on the same page. I do that all the time. Go full nuts in their team and secure enough picks to win the fight. Dude, crap, you set me up for this one. This is the crap, you did this. You read this whole thing and you knew what you were doing. Okay? You knew what you were doing, crap. This is on you. Same thing with a team comp. If you have Ana plus Kiriko and they're hard pocketing, you won't be afraid. Don't be afraid to push that W key into the ground. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would say you can change your pace, but that's fine. As long as you're in their LOS, you'll be immortal. Absolutely incorrect. That is not true. But I get what you're saying. You got Mercy Zen, don't push. Play defensive. Use the damage to hold corners without taking too much damage. I mean, these are all good. This is all good advice. I can't disagree. I'm not even gonna, I mean, I think this is good. Yeah. Good basic tips, ABCs that you want to learn. Bonus. Do not flame your teammates. Yeah, but it's their fault every game. How can I not do that if, like, I'm playing perfectly and everything we do is my teammates' fault? Like, I'm playing perfect, so anytime we're playing the game, it's on my team. So it's a lot easier said than done, right? Also, that doesn't even say bonus. That says bounds. Obviously, yeah, you don't want to do that. It's a lot easier if you can have a much more enjoyable game than trying to blame your team the whole time. Everyone can have a bad game. I agree. Don't add to that already frustration situation they're into. GG's, good luck, have fun. You know what? I don't even disagree with most of what they put here. I don't really have too much to add to this because I think it's actually really good advice. And we got to enjoy all of the random versions of spelling here that led to some interesting responses from chat. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're pretty good takes, especially for bronze. You know, like, learning the basic ABCs of how to play is a good way to go about it. I don't even think I can go past that on that one. I think that's just good advice. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to all 3 YouTubes if you haven't. If you have any takes in the YouTube comments, post them there. All of that helps. Or if you have any Reddit stuff, you can post them on our Discord. We can maybe react to them at one point. We also record these live on stream. You can see the Twitch chat right below the webcam, so stop by if you haven't. We have a lot of fun here. And with that being said, I hope you all have an amazing day/night.